Hey gang, over the last few years, I've shared my insight and my heart with you time and time again whenever our rights and our hard-won freedoms have been attacked by the powers that be. And through it all, you're my heroes. You've seen it, you heard it, you stood strong through it all beside me. You are the reason I'm here. Thankfully, our efforts to stand against the left are working. They're imploding in on themselves. And as we dismantle their absurd woke agenda, I got to tell you, it's been an absolute honor to have you by my side. Everything I share here is to help you better your life, your finances, your health, your relationships. I seek out experts that are already working to build the parallel economy and bring them right to your front door. So as we continue in on this fight against suppression and censorship, we have to use game-changing tactics. That's why I'm sharing this training with you today. It's from one of my favorite patriots, Ross Givens. Ross is an insider trading expert, and what he has to share with you all can absolutely change the trajectory of your life. But to do that, you got to be a courageous patriot and take the leap. This training is so amazing, gang, and that's why I have to share it on my main channel here with you. But we know this channel is being monitored, so the training will only be up for the next 48 hours. The left does not want this information in the hands of courageous patriots. So you have to listen in now to get this transformative information. You won't regret it, I promise. Watch it and tell me you're not motivated and excited to make the leap. This is your chance to embrace financial freedom and stick it to the liberal mob. Listen in, be courageous. I'm here cheering you on.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I think Dr. Steve is here, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see if he pops on in a minute. We're going to get started in about 12 minutes, so I see we still have some people logging in. I'm going to give them just a moment, but we're excited to have all of you here. There he is. There's the good doctor. What's up, Dr. Steve?
Hey, guys. How you doing, Ross? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well. How are things up north?
Oh, well, we got the Trump rally coming in the Bronx, in the north of North. It's pretty impressive. No one ever dreamed that something like that would happen.
Oh yeah, he's I don't track it as close as you do, but it looks like he's pulling most of swing states. Am I right?
Yeah. The latest Bloomberg now, it's all 7. He seems to be pulling away. They think it's a lot of people who are hesitant to admit to pollsters that they supported him are now more emboldened, and so they're coming out. And this is happening at the same time that Biden's numbers just continue to tank. His approval ratings, I mean, they make Jimmy Carter look, they make him look messianic by comparison. I mean,
has it ever been worse? I mean, I don't want to just pile on, but it's.
Yeah, it's so generally speaking, the threshold is around 46%, 47% approval to get reelected. I think Obama brought it down to 45 in 2012, but that's still within earshot, more or less, of the 50% that traditionally you need in order to get reelection. But Biden's in the mid 30s. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. I mean, I don't know what shenanigans they're going to try to pull off in November, but I mean, think about how far ahead he was in all the polling, literally all the polling in 2020. He was super far ahead in all the polling with a national poll, swing states, you name it. And then think about all the shenanigans that they pulled with 70% of the vote being mail-in ballots. All the shenanigans they pulled, and he still barely made it past the finish line. 40,000 votes, 10,000 Arizona, 10,000 Georgia, 20,000 Wisconsin. Now, he barely made it past the finish line. And so I don't know. They're going to try to pull well, they already are. They're trying to throw him in jail. That's basically what they're already trying to do. But I don't know, besides that, what
Well, it seems to be backfiring. This reminds me, I remember back in 2016, before the election going, I talked to a lot of people who don't want to publicly admit they want Trump. They like what he's saying. And it's like, yeah, when you call and their friends say, no, when they get alone in that ballot box, I think it's going to be different. And it was, I mean, it shocked the whole nation, shocked the world. I can't see a legal path to a Biden reelection. I'm pretty shocked they haven't put someone else in. I mean, it seemed like they were testing out Newsom and some others. I thought they'd, come with some health concern and swap him out last minute, but
That's right. Yeah, well, they had their chance. They had over the last 3 years. They could have at any point, put in Kamala or swapped even Kamala with Newsom or something like that. They had their chance, but they blew it. I think they really believe after the Mar-a-Lago raid that we now know they authorized legal force with. They really believed that they were going to be able to take Trump out through this weaponized lawfare, and it's just made them stronger. So they put all their eggs in that one basket, and now they're shot. It's too late in many respects. It's all the pundits I've read pointed out, you can't just take all the electoral votes that Biden got and then just throw them to somebody else. That's again because those voters didn't vote for that somebody else. So there would be all kinds of contestation for those votes. They're stuck. They're stuck with this guy.
It seems like it's actually very funny watching them because they did this to themselves. They put Kamala in so they can have the female of color, right, of all these things, even though she couldn't have won, a mayoral election in South Dakota, right? And so now you wanted your diversity hire. Well, now you got somebody who would do even worse than Biden. Nobody would vote for that moron.
It's
so
unbelievable.
And I talked to somebody who worked at the campaign. He said they're kind of in a tough spot because they can't run Kamala. But how do you take out the sitting president, even if it's an age thing, and say the VP who should be there, we're going to put somebody else in? It seems to me, and I was too young to really know, but it seems like 70s and 80s, they used to pick stronger vice presidents. Capable leaders who could step up in the event that something happened. And now it almost seems like Trump, too. They don't want anyone to steal the show from them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And, it's so funny you say this because the very party that mocked and ridiculed Dan Quayle, it's the very party that gave us Kamala Harris. Just let that hit you, it's just talk about irony of irony. Talk about somebody who can make Dan Quayle look like Moses, in terms of qualification.
Oh, yeah. Guys, if you're just logging in, Dr. Steve and I are just chatting. We're going to get started in about 6 or 7 minutes, but I always love talking to him. So there is a question box there on the GoToWebinar panel. If you guys have a question for Dr. Steve and never had a chance to speak with him live, fire away. I'll be glad to pass that off to him. I wanted to ask you about something I saw recently. I guess an article's come out talking about the ages of the founding fathers in 1776. Have you seen this?
I haven't. I know. I recall Ben Franklin was 70. I remember because I wrote a birthday card to my uncle when he turned 70.
He was. A lot of John Adams was 20.
Yeah, oh, wow.
A lot. It showed 10 or 20 of them that were under 30 years old. Even Jefferson was 33. So the whole thing was about, we have these images, these old men with white wigs and all. I said, but it wasn't always an old man's game, politics. It used to be. The average age of the signers, the Declaration of Independence, was 41 years old.
Wow, that's amazing. And they had a maturity back then that we've just lost. They had a sense of civic virtue that's just been so erased with our modern secular world. It's wow, that's incredible. I did not know that. That's neat.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting because, and I think you're right. I think it's, life was just so much harder then. The odds of your child making it over 18 were less than 50-50. So you experienced more hardship than any of us do our entire life by the time you're 30. And I wonder if that was part of the reason they grew up faster and were wiser and, didn't scroll TikTok all day. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, no, I think we're so pampered. Well, I've actually heard that put. A British fellow commentator makes the argument that wokeness comes from pampered privilege. If you don't have pampered privilege, there's a reason why wokeness came from the West, is because we are so pampered, we're so privileged. And the reason why 90% of the rest of the world just looks at us and goes, what are you guys even talking about? They can't even begin to relate to it, because we're just so far removed from reality in that affluence. So I mean, Rome had a similar problem. Athens had a similar problem. Byzantium had a similar problem, where they get so affluent, they get so comfortable, and then they seem to lose touch with reality. It's and I think that's happened to us, boy. So that contrast with the founding fathers, that's stark, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Hold on, I've got to broadcast the wrong screen here. Yeah, it's that, and I hate to even, it's that so cliche saying, you see it online, but it's, the whole hard times make strong men make
Yeah.
easy times make weak, etc. And it's just so
Yeah,
where we
but
are
it's
in the
true.
cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, it really
Yeah, it
is.
is. It's very cyclical. You're absolutely right. I think it's very true. Yeah.
Well, I'm optimistic. I know you're Mr. Optimism, so I love talking to you. You always make me feel better when I'm worried that everything's falling apart. And you are a great thinker, and if that's what I respect about you a lot. It's you don't every position you have, you've taken time and thought it out, and you're not just speaking whimsically. And you, unlike a lot of people, Republicans and Democrats, don't feel, hey, I voted for this guy, so I have to support every single decision he made. You can admit, hey,
Right.
Trump, I think he made some mistakes on COVID, right? It's maybe Biden did one or two good things somewhere in there. But this polarization where people just think they've got to fight to the death and die on the hill if they're candidate, it's like, I think Trump spent too much money. I love the guy. I'm voting for him, but
right. Yeah, too much money. Yeah, and I think the COVID issues definitely were problematic. And even just he was a little too interventionist in the Middle East for me, but in the end, right. I mean, he puts the nation in the right trajectory in a changing world, and he recognizes what this decrepit, insipid, stuck in 1991 bureaucracy cannot fathom. They just simply, that's what General Douglas McGregor always says on our channel whenever he's here. He's never seen a place that's so cemented in the year 1991. Then Washington D.C. It's just Reagan said the closest thing to eternal life on Earth is a government program, and I think there is something to that. Where just Washington D.C. gets so insular and so enshrined and plasticized in its own understanding of the world that it can't see that the world they think they're living in doesn't exist, even just among the people on the streets, let alone out there. And what makes Trump being an entrepreneur is he can't afford to do that. He has to be attuned to what people are thinking and reality and and trends and what's going on in the world. So
even if you disagree with him, you can't lie that he's not in touch with his base. And it's mind-boggling to me that they just don't understand. It's everyone in this country is going, please stop giving our money away. Please, we have homeless vets. Why are you taking my money? Don't act like you're being Mr. Nice Guy, Biden. Let's be honest. You're taking my Dr. Steve, everyone in this room's money. You're saying, I want your labor and I'm giving it to these people. Like, I don't think we'd be in uproar over taxes as much if you're helping people here who we believe need it. But when you're taking our money and giving it to people who've broken the law to get here, giving it to other countries that don't suit America's interests, have nothing to do with us. It's the level of out of touchness is insane. And
it is because they're operating in accordance with what benefits the aristocratic class, which is so alienated from what benefits us. They're operating according to their own interests, not ours. And so why I think one of the reasons why you're seeing Trump's base growing and growing and growing to even the South Bronx, no one would ever have dreamt of that before, is because he's redefining the political animosity from the horizontal, left versus right, to the vertical, people versus this tiny political class. So you're seeing a pyramid with this mass constituency growing around that new animosity. And boy, we really need to kick them out, don't we? That's for sure.
Well, speaking of acting in their own self-interest, and I hate to cut you off, so I could talk to you for hours, but the reason we've come is that they do just that, right? You and I talked about this a lot. It's they have access to information, they use it for their own enrichment, and today what we want to do is show people how to take that same advantage that they have and use it for themselves and kind of even the playing field. So, Dr. Steve, I'm going to go ahead and start because your people showed up on time, and I want to be respectful. But
love you, Ross. You're the best. Love you guys. Enjoy.
Thanks,
Ross
brother.
is the best.
Always good talking to you. Guys, now, if you would, you should see a screen that says the best kept secret on Wall Street, and you should have something that looks something like this on your screen. Now, this is the GoToWebinar control panel. Somebody asked about the buttons there. Everyone's microphone is going to be muted. Obviously, we can't have 700 people talking at once. Basically, the only thing you need to use here is that question box, okay? Questions, comments, need me to repeat something. Please, please, please feel free to use this. This is your one-way communication with me this afternoon. It is privatized. No other attendee will see your name or comment, so please feel free to fire away. And in fact, do me a favor if you would. If you can see the screen, if the audio is coming through clearly, just give me a yes right there in the question box. Press enter. I don't want there to be any audio, video issues because stuff's too valuable. I don't want anybody to be straining to hear. So if we're good, let me know. David, Alan, Billy, Gary, Jacob. Hello, Adrian. Good to see you. Joseph, Leonard, Zach, Timothy, Ricardo, Christopher, Ron, Corinthian. Awesome. Thank you very much. So this is a stock, and you might have heard me talk about it on Dr. Steve's show. He has me on every couple of months or so when there's an issue around usually political corruption, insider trading, because it's what I do for a living. And back in January, we had one of these similar training sessions. And as you know, when you registered, we sent you our latest stock pick, all the research on it. And this was the one from January. And the company is Perspective Therapeutics, a little biotech company. It's trading at 40 cents a share. And what we saw was several insiders buying this stock. And these were actually corporate insiders. We'll dive into those in a minute. But essentially, all the people working at this company, or at least a large handful of them, the top brass, the ones who know exactly what's coming, were suddenly buying this stock hand over fist with their personal money. I'm talking like half their annual salary at a time. So we recommended the stock at 40 cents a share, and as of last week, it's up 345% since then. So any money you put into this stock has quadrupled. Now, this is a good one. I'm not saying they're all going to do this, but these are the kind of opportunities we look for our members. And these are the kind of opportunities I'm going to show you how to find today. Now, since I just showed you a really good one, let me make this disclaimer. There is still a risk involved in trading. Nothing is guaranteed. There's not an investor on planet Earth, not Warren Buffett, not George Soros, who wins 100% of the time. Sometimes you'll take a small loss on these. But we want you to remember there is risk involved in this. This is the market, but we do everything we can to mitigate that. We hold 8 to 10 positions at a time. We use stop losses that limit how much we could lose in any one stock. And in fact, this entire strategy is a way to greatly reduce your risk of investing, because every stock we select, every one we buy, is being bought by company insiders. And this is a term I'm going to use a lot today. Now, when I talk to Dr. Steve about insiders, it usually means political insiders. So there is immense data showing that members of Congress and other high-ranking politicians vastly outperform the average American in the stock market. And they have access to good information. Pelosi is an extreme example of that, but there's dozens, hundreds of them who bought great stocks because they knew something good was coming. But there's another group of insiders that do even better than the political class, and that is corporate insiders. In this, I'm just referring to CEOs, chief financial officers, executives, board members, vice presidents, people that have access to inside non-public information about their business. Now, this information gives them a huge edge. They buy low, they sell high, they routinely book profits of 500, 800, 1,000% or more. In fact, many of these insiders have perfect track records, meaning they've made money every single time they traded their own company stock. They were always profitable. And we did a very big study several years back looking at more than 3.2 million trades with a singular goal to define who were the best performing traders in the market. And the results were kind of shocking because it wasn't hedge funds. It wasn't money managers. It wasn't hotshot traders. It was all company inside. It was CFOs and marketing directors and some shipping company VP in South Dakota. It's folks you'd never heard of. But following this small but elite group of traders would have handed you gains like 198% on iRobot, 421% on Cara Therapeutics, and a 608% gain on Ultra Clean Holdings. Now, we've recommended stocks to our members that have risen as much as 1,900%. So believe it or not, this is a few of the smaller gains you could have made. Now, one other big advantage we have, I talked about politicians versus executives. Politicians, members of Congress, when they buy a stock, according to the Stock Act, have 45 days to report that publicly. Okay, so if they're buying today, here, late May, they have until early July to report that. Well, that's a pretty big window. A lot can happen in 45 days, but we don't have that problem with corporate insiders. If you work at that company, you're required to report your trade within 2 days, and most do it sooner. So there's nearly no lag time. They buy on Monday, we know on Tuesday, and this is what allows us to get in early, buy at the same time they do, on these stocks that can make some really big moves. Crown Castle went up 851% after insiders bought. Extra Space Storage ballooned 1,204%. And Viking Therapeutics went up an astounding 1,829% in the 2 years following a big insider buy. That's enough to turn $10,000 into $192,000, and again in less than 2 years. So this seems a little unbelievable. I get that. What's the catch? There's always a catch. Here's what you got to remember, okay? These people are only trading one stock, and that is their own company. Right, think about it. These are the people who know that company inside and out, CEOs, CFOs, vice presidents, board members. They know their stock better than any analyst, anyone on Wall Street, and they routinely buy them before they double, triple. This one up 18 times higher. But folks, here's the important part. You can buy the same stocks if you know where to look. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. I'm going to show you who these people are, how you can follow their trades, and why we believe this to be hands down the easiest and most profitable way to trade stocks. So let me just give you a quick example. This is Workhorse Group. It's a tiny little electric vehicle startup company. In 1 February, 2 insiders bought this stock on the same day. They got in down here at around 95 cents a share. Well, a few weeks later, this happened. The company announced it will be buying the Lordstown Motor facility from General Motors. Stock surged more than 5-fold on the news. But this was just the beginning. They were also in the middle of securing a huge financing deal, which they used to expand operations, continue to grow. The stock kept running, and our insiders, in just over 1 year, were sitting on a gain of 3,057%, 31 times their money. So what I want you to take away from this is you don't need to try and figure out which stocks are going up, when they're going to do it. All you have to do is follow the insiders with great track records and just ride their coattails, because they're only buying when it's a no-brainer opportunity. Maybe earnings are way better than anyone thinks. Maybe there's a new merger, a new buyout that has not yet been reported, a pending FDA approval for a new drug. These folks are betting their own money, so they only do it when it's close to a sure thing. And this is how confident I am in these trades and what we do here. I am guaranteeing every new member will see the chance to earn at least $100,000 in their first 12 months as a member. In a few minutes, I'm going to tell you about our most recent pick, a stock seeing heavy insider buying, a small off-the-radar biotech that we believe could easily double over the next 3 to 4 months. Now, if you're newer to me, obviously a lot of you know Dr. Steve very well. If you're not familiar with me, let me just give you the quick cliff notes. First of all, I've been doing this for a very long time. In fact, it's all I've ever done. I had like 4 or 5 different securities licenses. I was an FA. I ran a managed investment fund. In fact, up until 2017, I was a vice president of investment management at JP Morgan Chase. Since then, I've come out on my own to help everyday investors, and I'm proud to say I've coached tens of thousands of traders and investors. But the service we run here, the work we do, even the stocks we select are designed specifically for regular folks, even if you only have a few $1,000s to start with. Because if you're behind the 8 ball, if you're facing retirement or you don't have the money you'd like to, 7 or 8% a year ain't going to do it, folks. You need to be more aggressive. You need big winners, stocks that can climb several 100%. And this is the way to find them. I'll show you another one. On October 16th, the CEO and the Chief Strategy Officer of Planet Green Holdings invested $5 million each into their stock. 48 hours later, the company announced it had secured a long-awaited financing agreement to expand operations. What do you think the stock did? Yeah, it took off. In fact, this one climbed so fast, the exchange actually had to halt trading on it. But folks, guess what? It is all completely legal, thanks to one little obscure SEC rule. And I want to go ahead and address this because it's the question I get more than anything else. So let's be clear. First of all, insider trading is technically illegal, yes. But arrests are extremely rare. And the ones you do see, it's a hedge fund manager, it's a trader. It's not a company insider. And here's why. Insiders are protected by an SEC loophole called the 10b5-1 rule. And essentially what it says is this: as long as the insider has a written plan for when he will buy and sell his company stock, he is immune from insider trading violations. But the rule is so vague, it's almost laughable. Because this plan for when that insider intends to buy and sell can be anything. Even his own proprietary formula. This guy can say he's going to buy and sell based on what the moon looks like that night, and there's nothing they can do about it. They're not required to disclose the plan's existence, its provisions, or any changes made to it. The 10b5-1 plan, instead of being filed with the SEC, is simply set up at a brokerage firm. It can be changed, modified, canceled at any time for any reason. So it's basically a free-for-all. The only hard rule they must follow is reporting their trades. And they do this in what's known as a Form 4. Insiders have to disclose how many shares they bought, at what price, and when. And these are the filings I track. So I can scan for new trades at any time and see exactly what insiders are buying right now. So what are we doing here? What's the overarching theme? Well, we're taking their advantage and using it for ourselves. They are feeding me inside tips. This makes sense to everybody? Type yes if you're following along. I just want to be sure we're all up to speed so far. Dan, Tim, Mark, Scott, Zach, everybody good? Following along? Okay. If you got any questions, just fire away. I just don't want anybody to be keyboard shy. Now, how long does it take these stocks to move after the insiders buy? It's a Form 4, Ricky. It depends. Sometimes they'll move very quickly. Most of these trades are going to take a few months to play out. That's their average holding time. So this is No Labs, for example. 1 June, the CEO bought 1.2 million shares completely out of nowhere. Now, it took 2 months, but the stock ran 771%. He's not even the only guy at No Labs doing this. The chairman of the board is a guy named Ronald Erickson. Oh, Ronnie, he's made 2 trades since he joined the company. Look at where that guy bought. Now, this guy has a base salary of $180,000, okay? But he's made $1.5 million trading the company stock. So why do you think he's there? For the $15K a month or for the information? These people know what they're doing. It is a license to print money. All you have to do is piggyback their trades. But that's not all. You see, we actually have an advantage over these insiders. Insiders must comply with something known as the short swing rule. They are not allowed to sell their stock for 6 months after they buy it. Otherwise, the government takes their profits. So this gives us two advantages right here. And by the way, this is really the only smart thing the SEC did. They kind of said, all right, we're going to take the cuffs off, Cowboys. You do what you want, but you're not going to pump and dump. You're not going to load up on the stock, release some great story, and sell the next day. You buy, you hold for 6 months. Now, here's where we come in. Here's how this helps us. First of all, now we know they're thinking long term. Since they cannot sell for 6 months, insiders only buy when they expect their stock to go up and stay up. So these tend to be fairly sustained moves. And second, we can sell whenever we want. If we get a quick move of a few 100%, like we did in CADX, we can sell, book our profits quickly. So they buy, right? We buy. The stock goes up. They have to wait a full 6 months to sell, but you and I can take our profits any time we want. And look, it's no secret that tracking insiders is highly profitable. In a moment, I'll show you top academic research that proves it. But it's just common sense. These people know their companies inside and out. They know how well new products are selling. They know when they're about to announce a big earnings number, complete a big acquisition. They know when they're about to release the greatest AI microprocessor ever made. They know if they're about to get bought out at a higher price. It is a huge, huge advantage. So these are the people that you, as an investor, want to be tracking. Now, I've shared a lot of this on the major financial networks. I've been on CNBC and Fox and Bloomberg. In fact, I was on Varney's show. See Varney down there in the bottom right. I was on his show back in 2015 in New York. I was actually just on it again this week talking to him. But this was, 7 or 8 years ago. So we've been doing this for a while. And he says, Ross, give me a number. Where's the Dow going to be at the end of the year? And as far as I know, I was the first person on his show to say Dow's going to hit 20,000. Now, old Stu, God bless him, laughed at me. Thought I was crazy. Everyone was looking for the market to go down back then. That year, the Dow Jones hit 19,987. I mean, that close from our target. Now, it sounds like I'm bragging. I'm not. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the market's going to do. But folks, when you're looking at the right data, this game is just not that hard. I track the smartest investors in the world. I track insiders. And they were buying like crazy. Look at this chart. You're not going to see this anywhere else. This is the insider buy-sell ratio for the overall market. So let me just walk you through what you're looking at. It's really not confusing. The blue line is the S&P 500 index over the last 20 years. So that's just what the general market has done, okay? And these green bars show insider buying. So the higher they are, the more insiders are buying, the lower the less. Well, I've circled in red the points where insiders bought the heaviest over the last 20 years. And look where it was. The 2009 lows, right at the bottom of the great financial crisis, arguably the best buying opportunity in a generation. 2011 pullback, late 2015, that's when I was on Varney's show and told him we'd see down 20,000. You see what happened next. December 2018, before one of the best years on record for stocks. March 2020, right at the low of the COVID dip. And then again, you see it kick back up at the end of the 2022 bear market as stocks were bottoming again. So what have they done? What do they continue to do in real time with their own money and data we can track? Well, they identified the best times to buy stocks. And folks, for 2 decades, their track record is perfect. It's like this in financial stocks. Look at them nailing every single dip. Look at industrials. Boom, boom, boom. Look at basic materials. This one will blow your mind. Now, basic materials is about the most boring set of stocks in the market. This is like steel companies, lumber companies, copper, right? Yet, in March 2020, right when COVID ramped up, we saw the largest spike of insider buying ever in the basic materials sector, literally 3 times what we got in the 2009 crash. Now, who knows what happened to the price of these hard goods in 2020? What if I told you steel prices doubled? What if I told you the price of lumber went up 400% that year? It had never happened before. So what do you think happened to all these lumber stocks, these steel stocks? They doubled, they tripled, quadrupled in weeks and months, not years and decades. And this one screaming buy signal notified you to it. And folks, this is not witchcraft, okay? It's not some great conspiracy. It's not a price fixing scam. Like everything else I'm going to show you today is just common sense. This is the aggregate of all the stock buying and selling by the people running these lumber companies. So what would the people running lumber companies know in March of 2020 before the rest of us? Well, for one thing, they knew there was a pine beetle outbreak in Canada, who's the world's #1 exporter of lumber. They knew supply chains were a mess. There's a freaking ship stuck in the Suez Canal. They knew supply chains were so messed up that to get a container ship across the Atlantic, which was $3,000 a year ago, was now $30,000. They also knew demand was through the roof. They're getting more orders than ever before because everybody's stuck in their home during quarantine, looking around going, I don't really like this house. I kind of want to buy a new one. Government's giving away free money. Rates are at 0. Let's go nuts. So demand very high, supply very low. What happens when everybody wants something and there's not a lot of it? Price goes up, right? Econ 101. It's not confusing. These people were simply in a position to see that information before the rest of us, just like you would see an opportunity in your business, in your industry. Tell me, who thinks this could improve your investing results? Type me. If you think knowing when insiders are buying stocks, when they're not, might be helpful. Knowing the next time they buy basic materials at 12 to 1. The next time it might be solar, semiconductors, or whatever. What about knowing which stocks they're buying specifically right now, this week, with their own money in their own account? And if you don't, it's not a rhetorical question. I want you guys to let me know. Let me know you're awake. If you don't believe this stuff is powerful, then I've missed the mark. Because most people I talk to, and I've been doing this for a while, have kind of a light bulb moment right now. I know I did. And you think to yourself, why would I compete over the same information everybody else has? There's 20 million competitors all trying to vie for the same stocks. Why would I compete with hedge funds and these big shops that spend millions on research when I can get free tips from insiders? Why would I do this any other way? When I said this is the best kept secret on Wall Street, this is what I mean. It can be life-changing for investors. I've seen it happen. And folks, I can show you examples all day. Just following insider trades would have tipped you off to a 616% gain on Kronos Worldwide, 687% on Heska, 912% on Applied Optoelectronics. Anybody own Applied Optoelectronics? Did anybody buy CRH Medical when it was at 80 cents a share? Probably not. Because they're not talking about these stocks on Varney in the main news. They're not a front page article on them in the Wall Street Journal. The only way you're even going to hear about these companies is if you're tracking these insiders. They're the ones that tipped you off to Lending Tree. They're the ones that tipped you off to Kimmett Corp before it went up 17-fold. So let's talk about how this works. Okay, hopefully you guys are seeing the big picture, the opportunity, but this is a training session. Let me show you how to do this stuff. All right, let's start making you some money. Here's how it happens. Every time an insider buys or sells his company stock, they have to file what is known as a Form 4. This is what it looks like. This is actually one from Elon Musk. It gives the insider's name, their position, details the trade, etc. And these filings are instantly uploaded to the SEC's Edgar database. And this thing's free for anyone to access, okay? The problem is it is archaic. You have to search manually, one ticker symbol at a time, go through all the corporate filings. It's not designed to be used as a fishing hole for investment ideas. But let me just show you what it looks like. This is probably easier. Let's just go to the site. Okay, so the website is sec.gov, the Securities and Exchange Commission website. So if anyone asks, are you sure this is legal? Say, it comes from the SEC website. I don't think it can be any more legal than this, okay? So up in the top right, if you click on company filings, that'll bring you here to the Edgar database. But you have to search manually through this thing. So I'll just pull up that one I showed you earlier for congruency's sake, Perspective Therapeutics. You click on View Filings. And this is going to be all the corporate filings of this company. And there's a lot of boring stuff in here. If you're having a hard time sleeping, come pull some of this stuff. 8Ks of the quarterlies, 10Ks of the annual reports. There's 14 S's and S8s and G3, all this stuff. But you're not seeing any Form 4s. And the reason is that little gray box in the top left corner of your screen. Can you see that? It says exclude insider transactions. The SEC hides this stuff from you by default. They know exactly how valuable it is. So you've got to come in and say, no, I'd like to see all transactions. And then, oh, there's a Form 4. There's another. Let's see if there's another one. Here's why we bought this stock. Look at what happened in December. Let me make this a little smaller. Well, let me bring the screen up. There we go. Okay, look at all these we saw in December. Look at the date down the right side of the screen there. So between December 14th and December 19th, a 5-day window, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different insiders bought this stock at the company. That's darn near all of them. So let's look at some of these. We had Robert Hunt, who is the company's chief financial officer. Think he might know a thing or two about how the company looks? Comes in and P stands for purchase, 125,000 shares at around 25.5 cents a piece. On the same day, we had Robert Williamson, a board member, board of directors, purchased 10,000 shares and another 13 the next day. At the same time, look what Marcus Pullman was doing. Now, this is a biotechnology company, okay? They're running drug trials, high-end stuff. They have no revenue coming in. They're spending millions of dollars. One of these drug trials goes well, gets FDA approval, hits the market. They're going to make billions. The stock's going to soar. If they don't work out, the stock's going to tank and probably go to zero. So knowing how these drug trials are going is the most important thing to figure out the future of the stock. And if there's one person on planet Earth I would trust for a tip on CADX, it would be this guy, Marcus Pullman. Why? Because he is the company's chief medical officer. He is literally the guy running the drug trials. So when he comes in on Friday and buys 135,000 shares of stock, comes in on Monday and buys 60,000 more, comes in on Tuesday and buys 400,000 more, after never buying the stock before, guy put 60% of his take-home pay in the stock right as we were waiting for imminent phase 2 drug trial results. I mean, you don't need a crystal ball to say, well, I'm pretty sure things at least aren't going poorly. And of course they were not. They were going very, very well. That's how, if this thing will pull up, the stock went from 40 cents to nearly $2. The insiders bought it here. We bought it a week later. And it ran 420% over the next 4 months. Now, obviously, you don't want to go through this system and search one ticker at a time all day long. So what we did is worked with a programmer, and we were able to build a system. It is fed by an institutional Bloomberg data feed. And what it does is it collects all these Form 4s, all this trade information, and puts it into a usable format. It's real time, so I get the data the second it hits the wire. Now I can filter for opportunistic trades, the ones that have led to the biggest stock moves in the past. So when an insider makes a large buy, I can see if anyone else at the company's buying. If they bought in the past, well, how did those trades work out? Does this person buy a lot? Is this a rare occurrence? All the things you need to get the whole picture and find the very best opportunities. Now, CADX was a biotech company. It's made a very big, very quick gain, and that's kind of by nature. when you think about pharmaceutical stocks, biotechs, this kind of stuff, they're almost completely news driven. If they get a positive drug trial, an FDA approval, a fast track designation, the stock can go nuts. So these can move pretty quick. This was Viking, for example, a little small biopharmaceutical company. They work on metabolic and endocrine disorders. And on May 29th, 3 board members bought large chunks of stock all in the same day. Now, that alone will be noteworthy, but it was also the first time any of them had ever bought. So it was clear they knew something. 48 hours later, the company announced positive phase 2 results for a drug they're developing known as MGL 3196. Result, a 157% gain in about 2 weeks, and it went on to run 1,800% over the following 2 years. Now, obviously, you're not going to catch every move. There's a lot of stocks. There's a lot of insiders. But we've handed our members a lot of nice wins, both in this sector and others. We put out a buy recommendation on CVRS last March at $1.60 a share. It went up 58% the first 4 days. Continued higher, got bought out, allowing us to book a 167% gain on the stock in about 4 months. But it's not just the medical space. This is IIPR, a stock we recommended in the cannabis sector. They build grow houses for cannabis operators who cannot get access to traditional capital and simply lease them back to them. Now, you didn't need to know that. You don't need to know their business model, their sales, their earnings, what the stock chart looks like. All you need to know is what we knew. The insiders, the top brass running this company, were buying it up hand over fist. We simply followed along and made 239% in 3.5 months. Now, we've been doing this since 2017. We've never had a losing year. In fact, our tracked stock portfolio has a compounded total return of 1,924% in that time. In other words, members who followed us and took every trade are up 20-fold the last 6 years. But it's been working for years for the same reason I always said. They have inside information. We bought Etsy. It's one of the first ones we ever recommended at $15.73. It went up almost 900%. We made a quick 283% trading a breast implant company called Sientra. We closed a 438% win on a frozen food company known as Lamb Weston. We made 5-fold our money on a commercial liquidator, 211% on a little Boston finance company. Our call options on the pharmaceutical stock Cardlytics, we sold the last ones for a gain of 1,091%. This is Matador, an oil stock we bought, again, following insiders, at $3.59 a share. It tripled in the first 2 months, was up over 700% the first year, and as of last year, was up 1,912%. Traycon, another pharmaceutical stock we bought, this one tripled in 9 weeks. We made 219% on Resideo Technologies, 125% on IVZ stock. Others in this space, Summit Therapeutics, Cyclerion, both those went up over 50% the first month. Here's Vapotherm. It did even better. We bought this one, about a year ago, year and a half ago? Went up 92% the first 18 days. We took this one last March, Zimvi. It's a med tech firm. You know what they make? Dental implants. They're an investor from here to California who's tracking the hottest dental implant stocks. These are totally off people's radar. And look at how bad it looked. The company had their quarterly earnings report. No bueno. Stock fell 59% in a day. Investors ran for the hills. Hell, I don't blame them. But look what the insiders did. Buy, 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 buy. They're gobbling it up. They know better than us. We simply followed along and made 74% over the next 6 weeks. This was the official write-up in the members area recommending it. So look, I can go on and on with it. I just want to make the point. There's a lot of opportunities out there. You just need to watch what the insiders are buying. Or my advice, which I hope you take, because we got a special Dr. Steve Turley Talkers only for you guys today, is to become a member of the Insider Effect. Join our family of like-minded traders. We'll hand you the best 4 or 5 opportunities every month on a silver platter. At the end of the day, these insiders only buy for one of 2 reasons. Reason number 1, the stock is beaten down and selling for a lot less than it's worth. So just like Zimby here, stock's at 12, goes to 5, insiders go, thanks for the deal, we know it's worth more than that, and we ride it back up. Or 2, the company is doing extremely well. Maybe their sales, their profits are way higher than Wall Street thinks. Maybe they're in talks to get bought out at twice the market price. Maybe drug trials are going good. Maybe they're got a pending FDA approval. Whatever it may be, the market doesn't know it yet. But folks, either way, when they're buying, it is the best heads up you can get. Now, one thing you'll notice about all these examples I've shown you, all these stocks we've recommended to our members over the last several years, is that most are small to medium-sized companies. I am never going to send you a buy alert on Microsoft. Why? Because you're never going to make these kind of returns on Amazon, on a Walmart, on a Google. They're great companies. They're just too big already. Worth over $1 trillion a piece. I don't want to ruin anyone's retirement plans, but heads up, Apple's not going up 400% anytime soon. It's just too big. The best picks tend to be these smaller, lesser known stocks, simply because they have more room to grow. That's where the big winners are. Stocks like Porch Group. We recommended this one on November 22nd. Same reason we always do. All the insiders were buying. Next day, it was revealed the CEO made his largest purchase ever. Stock went up 41% the first day we owned it. We were up 57% in 2 weeks. And the stock was up 160% 3 months later. We bought Bioventus here, July 10th. Boom, 59% in 5 weeks. This is one we bought in June. We're still holding it today. Why? Because it's still going up. It's up 226% in 9 months. Why would we sell this? This is Cerevel. You want to have a fun trade, you should have been with us on this one. Bought it late October. $23.5 a share. Held it for 4, 5, 6 weeks, didn't do much. And then look what happened the first week of December. The stock went to the moon from 26 to 38 in 48 hours. Why? Well, this, like many of the others we've seen, released fantastic drug trial results. At the same time, news leaked that there was a buyout, a bidding war to buy out this company. Stock shot to the moon. It was one of the best performing stocks in the entire market the first week of December, and it was one of the 10 we owned. Think that's coincidence? That I found the 1 out of 7,000 was going to do this? No. We got tipped off by the insiders 6 weeks ago. So this is an example of news is great, the market doesn't know it yet. This is an example of stocks beaten down and got too cheap. They crashed. Insiders knew it was too cheap. They bought, rose 50% over the next month. Barnes Group, we still own this one. Same thing. Goes from 40 to 20. Insiders start buying. Thanks for the tip. We're up 74%. This was Biohaven. They got one insider buy. I'll be honest, I wasn't convinced here. Then it shot up in late September. Thought, man, we missed it. But after the big run up, then we got insider buy, insider buy, insider buy, insider buy. I thought, man, they're not buying because it's cheap. They're buying right against near all-time highs. They must know something. Let's follow along. And we did. Ain't rocket science, folks. Steady growth. Sometimes they move quick. This is perspective. We bought it earlier this year, January 4th. We're up 65% in 6 days. Now, before we go, I want to talk about what you want to look for, because as I said, there's a lot of stocks out there, a lot of companies. Every one of them has multiple executives, board members. So I've boiled this down to my 3 favorite buy signals, 3 things you want to look for profitable insider trading. Okay, and here's what they are. Number 1 is perfect track record insider. We're looking for somebody who's shown us they know what they're doing. So this is a chart of Champion's Oncology stock. And I've circled in red every time the CEO bought it. So if they have a history of buying right at the lows, right before the stock jumps, and they're buying again now, you want to pay attention. Second, cluster buying. This just means the more the merrier. The CEO's buying, well, that's good. Chief financial officer too, that's better. Chief operations officer, 2 board members, a vice president, and the head of engineering, now you have my attention. That's what happened at Clayton Williams Energy. President, 2 board members, VP of gas gathering, all bought, all at the same time. $9 stock. 8 months later, they're up 1,436%. If you followed this trade with $10,000 in April, you had $150,000 by Christmas. Okay, so that's number 2, cluster buying. The third signal is the first-time buyer. Now, there are some insiders who routinely buy the stock. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the guy who's worked there a while and never bought, but suddenly is now. Why? What's different? Well, take Richard Levy. All right, Richard is on the board of directors at a company called Madrigal Pharmaceuticals. And 1 week, across 3 trading days, he picks up over 9,000 shares of stock, totally out of nowhere. Left field, no news. A couple weeks later, the company announces positive drug trial results and the stock launched. Now, think about this for a second. This guy spends more than a year on the board of directors. During that time, he does not buy 1 single share of stock. Then he buys 3 times just weeks before it took off. Does anyone want to argue that this is luck? I hate to even show you the next chart. I don't want to create unrealistic expectations, but I do want you to see what is possible. By June, this stock was up almost 2,000% where insider bought, all in less than 1 year. So this is why I follow insiders. And there are other things I look at. We're going to have a Q&A session here in just a moment. We'll brush on all that. But these are probably the best 3. Perfect track record insiders, cluster buying, and first-time buyers. If you follow these, you can make a lot of money. Now, the best trades and the ones we tend to put out to our members are those that have multiple buy signals. So this is one I did several years back, and this was so obvious, I even put it on YouTube. You can go look it up at the time. It's In-Phase Energy. And here's what we saw. In one day, on March 5th, the vice president, the chief financial officer, the chief executive officer all bought this stock. They also had perfect track records. Some of their past buys were up over 1,200%. Plus, the stock was at all-time highs. They're not buying just cheap, they're buying at the top. So 3 clear signals that In-Phase was likely to take off. And that is exactly what it did. It went up 2,174% over the next 2 years. And as of last year, it was up 3,490%. $9 stock, folks. Buy a couple shares, sit on your hands, and it's worth 35-fold more 4 short years later. Now, In-Phase reported huge earnings, which is probably why the insiders were buying. But earnings are just the tip of the iceberg. Think about what information insiders have access to. They know if sales are going up, if they're gaining major new customers, getting government contracts, if they plan to launch a new product, a new service, legal actions being resolved, drug trials, mergers, acquisitions. Folks, the only difficult part about the strategy is this. You know they're buying, but you often don't know why until that news hits the headlines weeks later. Folks, listen to me. I don't care how you decide to invest. One thing is always going to be true. If you want to beat the market, you have to be first. You have to get in early before the news comes out. And who knows the news before it comes out? Yeah, the people who work there, the insiders, the ones running the company. So it just makes sense to follow them for tips. Now, I run a service here called the Insider Effect, where my team and I track these trades. We do all the research and pass along the best ideas each month to our members. But some of you may want to do this yourself, which I totally respect. So let me warn you, it is a lot of work. We see roughly 4,000 insider transactions take place each and every day. So you're not going to be able to go through these manually. What you're going to need is some kind of sophisticated system to gather, sort, and filter this data, which I can show you how to build. Even then, you really need some experience to know what you're doing and dig deep. My team and I research the insider's buying history. We examine their past trades. We see how often the stock sees insider buying. We filter out option trades, gifted shares, routine purchases, etc. And then, and only then, can you sort through to find the very best opportunities, like your cluster buys, your first-time buyers. So, look, I don't want to sugarcoat it. It is a lot of work. The idea is simple. The execution is tough. In my experience, most people would rather let us do that work and simply hand them the 4 or 5 best opportunities each month. But I am curious where you guys stand. Let me take a quick poll if you don't mind, and then I'm going to dive into the stock I'm going to tell you about today. If you'd rather do this yourself, just use the question box. Type me if you want to do it yourself. Learn to do it on your own. If you'd rather my team and I do it for you, just type you. All right, so type you if you want us to do it. Type me if you'd rather do it yourself. I just want to get a quick poll here. A lot of one me from Jacob, you, me, you, Kim, Stan, David, Michael, Amora, Marty, Jose, Craig, Ralph, Adrian, and me. Okay, Zach, Mark, good. I like that. You, Ron, Andrea, you're mixed on it. I get that a lot, Ricky. Both. Okay, I respect that. It's a good answer. Probably you, Rob, Tim, Brooke, James. A lot of you here. Now, as I said, there's been studies on this. I've never met anybody that tracks insider trading to the same degree, same depth we do. But there was a study done at the Wharton School of Business a few years back, which concluded investors can reap exceptional profits imitating insiders. Another study was done at the Harvard Business School, not dumb folks over there, which found that when a top insider buys his or her company's stock, it rises by an average of 31% in the next 6 months. They also determined that following opportunistic insider trades would have returned an additional 21.6% a year on top of the market since 2000. Let me show you what that looks like. 100 grand just in the general market from 2000 to the time of this study would have grown to about 285,000. But it would have grown to 11.3 million just from following the right insider. That is what another 21.5% a year does. No options, no leverage, no crazy day trading, just buying the right stocks at the right time. Because, folks, this is common sense. These investors have inside information. They know more than anyone else in the market does. And following them, as you can see, can hand you huge profits. So, let's talk about a stock that insiders are buying right now. In fact, I'm just going to give you this one, okay? The company is BioCryst Pharmaceuticals, ticker symbol BCRX. And we can see what the stock has done over the last 4.5 years. Great 2020, goes from $2 a share to 20, 1,000% run, and then has gotten absolutely murdered for the last 2.5 years. Now, stock that goes from 20 down to 4 is getting cheap. That's good, because if it goes back, we're going to make 4 times our money. But you need some kind of a signal that says, now's the time to buy. Good news is coming. The stock is too cheap. Something to break this downtrend, and we just got it in the form of insiders. Look at all these trades that took place in a 48-hour window, May 13th and May 14th. Anthony Doyle, the CFO, invests $200,000. The same day, the chief R&D officer, $175,000. 120 grand from a board member. The freaking chief legal, the lawyer's buying it. That's how hard this is to resist. The CEO's buying, the chief commercial officer's buying. They're all piling into this stock. Now, the last thing we want to see is this rare buying? Because believe it or not, we'll pull up some stocks and insiders, they bought big, but they did the same thing last month and the month before and the month before, or they do it every quarter, whatever it may be. And if that's the case, it carries less weight because this doesn't seem opportunistic to do this every month. But that's not the case here. This is a summation of all the insider trading volume at BioCryst for the last 3 years. So the red bar shows how many shares were sold each month, and that's not any surprise. We're selling back there at the highs. The green bars are the buys. Other than a little tiny pocket where they bought about 40,000 shares here in 2021, there's been nothing. And then suddenly, 3 years later, we get 7 buys, 6 buys in a 2-day window. This is a huge spike. This is what opportunistic buying looks like. It's exactly the kind of opportunities we're looking for. And even though when you look at this chart, big picture, it looks bad, when you zoom into what's happened for the last month or so, this thing's on a tear, folks. It's up 74% this month. And remember, this was a $20 stock 2 years ago. Could likely go higher. You're talking about 300-400% above current prices. Now, you could also play this with a cheap out-of-the-money call option. Now, I want to say these cost $50 a contract. Now, options carry more risk. Of course, they're options. But if the stock does what we expect, this option could increase 21-fold. Meaning $1,000 worth would go to $21,000. $5,000 worth, $105,000. Now, look, I'm not guaranteeing those returns. Every trade has risk, as I said. But folks, even if it does half as well as we expect, you're talking about multiplying your money many, many times over. Now, we've wrapped up the details on this trade, as well as 2 others we're recommending right now in a special bonus report titled The Best Traders You've Never Heard of, How to Pocket $100,000 Following Insiders. And we are sending this for free to everyone who joins the Insider Effect today. So let me tell you about this service really quickly, the deal we have for you guys today, and then I'm going to turn it over to all of you and answer all of your questions. So here's how it works. When we find these perfect opportunities, like the 3 stocks we're recommending now, we're going to send you both an SMS text and an email notification recommending the stock as a buy. Now, our research, as most of you have seen, is thorough, but it's straightforward. It is easy to read. You'll get a write-up on the company, which insiders are buying, why we like it, potential catalysts, where to place a stop. And then when it's time to take your profits, we're also going to notify you and send you a sell recommendation. We also include an option pick with each and every play. And options are a way to really ramp up the return. So it's basically a way when you get that surprise news, a press release and earnings, whatever, and the stock shoots up, these are a way to make 5 to 10 times more than you'd make on the stock using these options. And we found these to be a really big benefit, especially for people with smaller accounts, because these options, most of them cost maybe a couple $100 a piece. If you get a couple of decent trades, you can quickly build up your capital. Now, this is a 12-month membership. Okay, for a full 12 months, an entire year, you're going to get every buy and sell recommendation we issue. On average, 3 to 4 a month. We're not day trading. We're not in and out all week. We're simply giving you our absolute best ideas each month. You'll get instant access to this bonus report with the names, ticker symbols, all the details, and our top 3 picks right now, each of which could make you tens of thousands of dollars. The 12-month membership, I cannot overstate the value of this. We have more than a decade of research and counting. We have analysts, junior analysts, Bloomberg terminals that cost $25,000 a year. The expertise, the man hours to go into this, it's why we have such a phenomenal track record and why we've made so much money for so many people. Now, we have a full-time staff that's going to track all of this for you. Anytime you need to buy, anytime you need to sell, we'll notify you instantly via text, via email. We'll keep the whole open portfolio open 24 hours a day. You can actually see what stocks we own, which we've sold, and how much are left. There's nothing you need to track. But if you have any questions during the life of your membership, you can reach out to our trade concierge team. Again, full-time in-house employees whose only job is to make your life easier. And that could be anything from, can you please explain this trade to me, to, I've never bought a stock before. Can someone hold my hand, click through, placing that trade? Absolutely. And of course, you're backed by my personal $100,000 guarantee, which states this: if you do not see profits of $100,000 12 months from today, my entire team and I is going to work for you a second year for free. But you're not going to pay anywhere near the $58,000 in value. Now, you all know Dr. Steve and I go way back. I love the man. I love the work he does. I fully support his mission. And if you are a follower of Dr. Steve, I guarantee we get along. So we want to do something special for his folks. So here's what we've done. The Insider Effect, we open enrollment once per quarter. We have to limit the number because these are smaller stocks. They don't have a ton of volume. If we had 20,000 members, we'd just move the prices. So we just check our books once a quarter, so many spots we haven't opened those up. But Dr. Steve, we always hold back some spots for when we do a training event for his people. And so we have, I want to say, is it 50? Is there 50 or 100 spots? I think it's 50 memberships we've reserved for his members today. But that we do have to cap it at 50. So do me a favor. If this is something you're interested in, okay, assuming the price makes sense, if you want to learn more, type your name and number in the question box now. Do that. I will hold one of these 50 spots for you. Put your name on it. We'll put you on our first right of refusal list. Now, the chat is private. No one else can see anything you type in, just my team and I. And you're under no obligation to buy at all. This is zero risk to you. This is just our way to say, look, show me you're interested. We'll hold one for you. We're not going to be one of those high pressure, you got 10 seconds to buy or you miss out. Okay, it's the fairest way we know how to do it. And believe me, you want us to cap the membership. If we just let everyone sign up that wanted to, we had 20,000 members, we'd send a stock pick to you. By the time you saw it, the stock would be up 20%. Okay, we're not going to do that. So type your name and number in. We'll hold a spot for you. I see a lot of folks in here now. Bob, Rebecca, Ellen, Ray, Eve. And be sure you put your number in just in case, only because if we get down to 2 or 3, somebody may reach out to you and say, hey, Mr. Smith, I saw you're interested. We only have a couple spots left. Zero pressure. Just wanted to see if I could answer any questions for you. If you decided against it, that's fine, but I do have to release it to our members. So be sure your spot is in there as well, and that way we can do that. So Jose, Rob, Mike, Leo, David, Will, Zach, Michael. Yeah, you found it. Dan, Tara, Joshua, Ellen, Diana, Kenneth, James, Guthrie, DeMarcus, Stephen, a lot of folks near. Craig, Harry, Anthony, Joy, Rich, Ellen, Dave, Dr. Steve, Turley, listener. All right, John, Robert, Dan, David, Dennis, Rich, I think I said you already. Angel, Scott, Brad, Tim, Brad. Okay. A lot of folks in there. Yeah, just put your name in. We'll hold one of these spots for you. Why do this now and not before? I'm not sure what you mean. Catherine, Kevin. Yep. Okay. Just put your number in there, Stan. We'll just, that way, just know to hold a spot for you. That's all. Again, you don't have to, but it's saying, hey, these 50, they almost always fill up for Dr. Steve's. Put your name in. Oh, man, my word, I'll hold one for you. Okay. Easy way to do it. Okay, Tricia, Dwayne, I got you. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Now, historically, when enrollment is open to this, it retails at $49.97. We've sold out at that price before, but we want to do something special. So we decided to do, which take 60% off. So more than half off, do a full year for $19.97, which we know is sold out many times before. But I wanted to do something additional for Dr. Steve's folks because he is such a good friend of ours. Now, look, I'd love to do this for $20 a year. But like I said, I've got analysts, I've got junior analysts, we have full-time support staff, we have Bloomberg terminals that cost us 25 G's a year. I think we spend something like $18,000 a month in SMS notifications, just alerting our members when to buy, when to sell. So we run $400K a month in expenses. That's what it costs to put out this kind of research. So what we decided to do instead is everyone today in this room, we're going to give you a second year absolutely free at no charge. Still get the 60% off, 1 year price, but we're going to double it up for you, which comes out of less than $1,000 a year, which is, what is that? I don't know, $80 a month or something like that. And folks, I've had members who've made hundreds of thousands of dollars on this stuff. Believe me, we know it works. So 2 ways to get signed up. Now, our staff, our trade concierge reps I mentioned, they are, the office will be around for another hour or so. If you'd like to reach out to them, the number is on the screen. But as you can imagine, we have about 740 people in this room right now. We have 4 guys at the office. The phone lines, could be a little busy. So if you want to get signed up immediately, the quickest way to do it is just to go online at getinsidereffect.com. It's GET, insidereffect.com. And let me show you what that looks like. When you go to that page, I'll close this. There we go. So when these fill up, I think it'll say enrollment closed, something like that. I don't know, they'll change it. But go to this page, you can view everything here. Guarantees there, all the details. The order form is very simple. As you can see, it is a special. This page is just for you guys. Special link to get the 24 months at $19.97. Name, email, phone number, credit card information. Very, very simple. Now, the email and phone number is where we will send those trade alerts to you. So I encourage you to put your cell in there. If you need to change it later, no problem. Need to add a number later, no problem. Just don't want you to miss out on anything in the meantime. And again, everything included is laid out. You can see a few testimonials from our members, as well as some frequently asked questions. Can you place these in IRA? Yes, et cetera, et cetera. Now, every once in a while, and I don't know why, and it's usually Dr. Steve's fault, because he has so many viewers, when a lot of people hit this page at once, sometimes the order form there disappears. And it's only on a Safari browser. I haven't figured that part out. If that happens, just click this black box. It'll take you to a secured, dedicated order form page. Just as simple. Name, email, phone number, credit card. Very, very simple. So those are two ways to sign up. Again, I encourage you to go online simply because we have a lot of people calling. All 4 phone lines are busy right now. But if you do have a question, you want to talk to somebody in person, you just feel more comfortable ordering over the phone, totally fine. We are here for you. And by the way, this is not some call center in Taiwan we're sending you to. This is an Orlando, Florida number. You're talking to our people here. Call that number. If the phone lines are busy, you can either leave a message, or if you type your number here in the chat box, just put call me, want to sign up, I promise I'll have one of them call you as soon as they get off the phone. Okay, so getinsidereffect.com. You should see a link in the chat box, or call 407-606-5674 to lock in a full 2-year membership to the Insider Effect in $19.97. Now, you'll get immediate access to everything. The bonus report with our top 3 picks right now, all the research, full details. You'll be able to access the members area that has our entire open portfolio, which, by the way, there's 4 or 5 other stocks with active buy recommendations right now. You can see every past trade we've made. You can see the full open portfolio. For those of you who said you want to learn to do this yourself, which I applaud, I've got a 3-hour masterclass showing you how to do this. I go step by step, just me, screen share, showing you the only retail database we can find this information, what to look for, filter criteria, good signs, bad signs, all of it. That is available in the members area to you, on demand, unlimited views at no additional charge. And finally, if you are newer to buying stocks, and by the way, more than half of our members are not experienced traders and investors. They are mostly new to this. I have a series of very simple, short training videos in the members area designed just for you. These are 10 to 20 minutes a piece. It's not like you got to sit through a long class. And they literally start at the beginning. The first one is, here's what a stock is. Second one is, here's how to place your first stock trade. Here's how to place your first option trade. Here's how to place a stop loss to limit your risk. Here's how we do money. So there's 5 to 7 videos. You can watch them in an evening, and we can get your learning curve from 2 months down to 2 days. And in addition, you have full access to our trade concierge team. That's Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, full 2 years. If you want to call tomorrow morning and say, hey, I'd like to set up a 15-minute call with somebody just to go over stuff, be sure I'm up to speed, no problem. What time works best? So we're here for you. You have access to my full team. All of our resources are now your resources, and you are the newest part of our Insider Effect family, along with my good friend, Dr. Steve. So link and phone number on the screen. Let me answer some questions. I know I've skipped over a lot. I apologize, but let me go back here and look at what I have missed. Michael, how does money change hands? So if you're referring to the trades themselves, we are not a broker. We don't hold your money. You can buy these stocks at any brokerage platform, in any kind of account, a regular account, an IRA. You can go to Fidelity, you can go to Schwab, you can go to E-Trade, any of them. If you don't have a stock trading account, you can set one up in 10 minutes. They'll approve it the next day, usually. And then all you got to do is send them a check or ACH the money over. It'll clear in a couple of days. You'll be ready to roll in no more than a week. Very, very simple. Okay, let's be formal. Okay, let's see what other questions we have here. Sorry, I've got a lot. I'm trying to skim through. I missed the first 30 minutes. Is this recorded? Yeah, I believe this was recorded. If you need to watch it, we can send it out to you, John. Can I use 401k money? Well, it depends on the kind of 401k, Kim. If it is a self-directed 401k, yes, you can do. I mean, you can buy real estate in a self-directed. If it is a company 401k, meaning it is with your employer, most of those limit your investment choices to a handful of mutual funds they choose. IRAs don't. So you just want to check on that. Otherwise, yeah, any kind of account. So yeah, just that link, getinsidereffect.com, and have somebody send that to you. What broker do you use, James? I use Fidelity. I found them to be extremely reliable, very safe bank, a great platform, great execution. They've got a great mobile app. It's web-based, very easy to use. 9 out of 10 people who've never traded for it's where I send them. I don't work for Fidelity, never have. I don't get any kickbacks. I just find it's easy to use. E-Trade is another one, very easy to use. Only, some people do something like Robinhood. I'm not a big Robinhood fan, but you can do these trades there as well. The easiest thing, honestly, go to YouTube, look up easiest stock platform, and look what they look like. It's literally that simple. They're all $0 commission. They all have good tech. You're all going to get good fills. Just pick the one that looks easiest for you to use, honestly. This is applicable for non-U.S. citizens. Yeah, doesn't matter. As long as you can trade U.S. stock, sure. And we have lots of clients in Canada. We have lots of clients in Europe. The U.S. stock market is the largest in the world. So pretty much every country, except maybe Iran and some ones that hate us, give access to U.S. stocks. So it's very rarely a problem to trade U.S. stocks. Yep. When trading, how does money change hands? So you put money in a brokerage account. You click buy on a stock. It's going to be automatically executed and filled. Your broker holds all your funds. The shares are held in street name. You can buy and sell freely. It's not as if you have to send money for each transaction. You just want to fund the account with money. It'll stay there. The value of those holdings increases, so is the value of your account, and vice versa. Can we use our own broker? Yep, of course. Answered that already.
Hey, Ross, can you?
Whoop, I got somebody busting in here. Who's that?
Hey, sorry to interrupt you, man. I just wanted to hop on here. We're getting a lot of people asking for a call. I just wanted to hop in and let everybody know we do have 77 people currently on hold on the call lines here. So it will be quite some time before you get a call. We will still call if you request it. However, the fastest way to get involved is to secure your spot, which we are currently at 43 of the 50 spots. There are 7 remaining. The quickest way to secure that is to go to that link that's in the chat section or the question box, getinsidereffect.com. And Ross, these are going to go pretty quick, especially with 70 plus on hold. I would suggest we go ahead and open up another 50. I just checked. We do have the capacity to do it. If you're good with it, I'll go ahead and open up that link for another 50 spots.
Okay,
I see us going over
that's fine.
quick.
Okay. All right, thanks for the update, Derek. So you heard him. Again, I wouldn't want to pressure anybody. And I also don't want to bait and switch and go, oh, sorry, spots are gone, tough crap. So I say put your name in and hold a spot for you. I meant it. A couple people saying, can I get this tomorrow morning? Can do it, whatever. That's why I said put the name and number in. Everyone's situation is different. If you say, look, I can't spend $2,000 without talking to my wife, my husband, whatever. I get it. I don't want you sleeping on the couch. Let us know. That's why I said we'll hold a spot for you. If it's, hey, can I split this on 2 cards? Can you wait to run it to Monday? Whatever it is. If you're interested and you're serious about this, we'll find a way to make it work. We've worked custom deals before. We'll do it again. Just put your name and number in. We'll reach out to you. We'll make it work. I promise. And like Derek said, we'll open another 50 for you guys, for Dr. Steve, anything. So don't worry. We're not going to sell out on you. We'll honor our deal, and you guys can all get this same price and deal today. So now I've seen a couple questions on taxes, short-term gains and all. Let me address that. It's a great question. Andrew, I see your question. Here's how taxes work stock trading. If you hold a stock or anything for more than a year, it is taxed at a long-term capital gains rate, which for most people is either 15 or 20%. If you hold a stock for less than a year, so whether that's 1 day or 11 and a half months, it's taxed as ordinary income. So if you're in the 15% bracket, it's taxed at 50. It's just taxed as if you just earned it at your job. Now, I do not believe in investing based on taxes. If I owned a stock for 364 days, sure, I'll hold it one more to get capital gains rate. But I'm not going to not make money in the market because I don't want to pay taxes. That's like getting a promotion at work and say, no, thanks, I don't want to pay that much in taxes. It is what it is. Are taxes fair? No. Are we penalized for success? Yes. Should we pay taxes on gains we've made with after-tax dollars? Absolutely not. But I don't want to go to jail. It is what it is. So, I don't look at taxes that much. If I pay a lot, which I do, it's because we're doing well. But yes, you are correct. Any stock hold less than a year, which most of ours will be, are going to be short-term capital gains. That is true. But losses also offset those. The fee to set up a stock trading account, Michael, it's $0. Yep, it's free. In fact, some of them, just Google like stock account bonus or stock account gift or whatever. Sometimes they'll have deals up and say, hey, if you open and fund account, with at least $5,000 in the next 60 days, we'll give you $100 free or whatever it may be. So they sometimes do things like that to incentivize you. Not familiar with EQT. Nope. We're going to rewatch the recording. I believe we'll send this out, Mark. Is there any difference between a sell stop order and a stop loss order? Nope. Same thing, James. If you own a stock, yep, it's a sell stop order. Some people just call it a stop loss because it stops the loss, but no, exactly the same thing. You know what you're doing. I like an Fidelity 20 years. Okay, Dennis. Yeah, great company. Oh, you bought DWAC, so you're in. So now it's DJT, right? Thing's been wild, man. It was up to like 40 cents a share or $40 a share again. Oh, you sell the Tampa. Okay, so you're not far from us, Rob. You can do that. We can do that. A couple people asking about the unlimited offer. Yes. So when you sign up online, after you complete your order, there'll be another page where there's an option to upgrade to a lifetime. I think they call it an unlimited membership. It's a lifetime membership, and it's like $9.97. Most people take this. It's just kind of a no-brainer. You get a year, or in this case, 2 years for $19.97. Like for another $9.97, you get forever. So you get 2024, 2025, 26, 27. I mean, you'll have this for the life of the service. So that is an option to you. And in fact, that's the reason we've recently had to say, hey, only 50 spots, whatever, because everybody's sort of taken that. And now we have some of these lifetime members, so fewer people roll off each quarter. But that is an option to you for sure. It's like another $1,000. You get lifetime access. You'll never pay another. It's not, we don't ding you as an annual, whatever. It's not, $200. There's no annual. You'll never pay this fee again. You're locked in for life. And as I always say, I wish Netflix would offer me a lifetime subscription. I'd take it in a heartbeat. But that is an option to you. You can take that over the phone or at that link online. I tried to pay online. I got no confirmation. You should get an email confirmation. Give it 5 minutes. If not, you're in here, just so you know, you're in here as old man. I don't know. That's the name you typed in. So I don't know how to address you properly. But we can check for you. Just put in your name and number, say, please check and make sure I signed up. And if not, we'll have somebody call you and get you set up. The member site to start the videos. Okay, so once you're signed up, let me show you what that looks like. And this will let you know what you'll find in the members area as well. I'll put this up so it doesn't block the link and number on the screen. So when you go to our site, tradersagency.com, and you sign in here, they changed it, my face on the front. Okay. And you'll see access to the insider effect right there in the middle. All right. Now, here are some basic links here for the alerts and all that kind of stuff, but some indicators, a guide to order type. So this is the first 3 training. Here's the basic training side. So it's literally, like I said, what is a stock? What is this? And it's me in front of a whiteboard laying this out for you. And we've got everything from what is a stock, how to place a trade, stop losses, options, etc. There's that 5-part masterclass I mentioned inside there. Here are all the past trade alerts. This is where you'll see the alerts. So you can see, this is the one I share with you today, BioCryst Pharmaceuticals. You can see the depth of the research. We explain what the company does, what their main drug is, what's going on. Insider buying, what we're seeing, potential catalysts. This is, some news on the company, technical outlook, all of that. And then the instructions are very simple. Buy BCRX at the market, Place a sell stop order at 495. If you'd rather do the option, this was it. That option was 60 cents, which is $60 per contract. Okay, so that's, and you can scroll through and find the last, 200 we've done. The easiest thing, you can watch the trade tracker, see everything we own right now. So here's all of our open positions. See Matador up big on these. We've held, like a year or so. G3 we've been in for a little over a year. ZimV, we've been in a little over a year, up 160%, 120%, 70% in the last 6 months. This one we've been in for a month, we're up 20% on. And then here's the opportunities now we've bought just in the last couple of weeks that are still active buy alerts. And then all the option trades are listed down here at the price we paid for them as well. So all of this is going to be found inside the members area. You'll get instant access to that. You can plug away through it this evening and check all of that out. Marianne, your card's being declined. Okay, Marianne, don't worry. We see this every single day. It's usually 99 of 100 times it's a fraud protection measure by the credit card companies. They're going, they've never bought anything from this company before. Now they're going in for 10 grand in the middle of the day. Or 2 grand, excuse me. It happens to me. Usually all you got to do, flip your credit card over, call the number on the back, say, hey, yes, that was me. Yes, I'm trying to buy it. And say, okay, we've cleared it. Go ahead and run it again. They do it over the phone a lot, but that's usually all you have to do. Nowadays, many insiders are selling. Do you make short trades? Great question, Adrian. The answer is no. Insider selling is not necessarily indicative of the stock going down because insiders are paid differently. A common CEO pay structure may be something like, okay, we'll give you $300,000 a year in cash, $2 million in stock, and then you have options depending on how much you make the stock go up. That could make another $5 million in stock. So this guy made $7 million last year, but he only got 300 grand in cash. So what does he have to do if he wants to put a swimming pool in? Sell stock. Send a kid to college? Sell stock. Buy a Lamborghini, a vacation house, an elite golf membership? Sell stock, sell stock. Lots of reasons to sell, but there's only one reason to buy. Kim, no tax to use your IRA account. Correct. An IRA is a tax-sheltered account. Gains, losses, whatever accumulate, it compounds tax-free until retirement age, and then you pay taxes on it when you take the money out. So you don't have to worry about that at all in IRA. Yep. Let's see here. Other questions? We'll discuss my husband. Understood, Sandra. A smart move. Now, Sean is telling me we do have 2 of the phone lines just opened up. So if any of you have been waiting to call, that number on your screen, you can get right in right now, 407-606-5674. So if you'd rather talk to somebody, you can do that. Mark, yeah, might be because you're out of the U.S. We'll figure it out. Just give us a call. We'll handle that for you. Are we able to buy if we only want to spend a couple $100? We not recommend for smaller amounts. I mean, well, I'd say this to you. If you have $3,000 to your name, don't give me 2 of it and trade the last 1,000. I mean, I don't want to cut one of your legs off to do this. I believe the research is very good. It's very valuable. I've seen people make lots of money, but if you're starting with $7, I mean, it's going to take a while, right? So you want to have, I tell people, at least a few $1,000s, I think, to start with. Now, stock options, you can do 100, 200, $300 at a time. Now, they're riskier in the sense that on a percentage basis, you're going to lose more. So if you buy a stock option, a call option, a bet that it's going to go higher, let's say the option's $200. Well, if it doesn't go up, you're going to lose all $200. But if it does, you can turn that 200 to 400, 600, a multiple of that because it's a leveraged instrument. And so as long as the move happens in the first couple months, even a 10 to 15% move up in the stock is going to be a 50 to 100% gain in that option. That's why a lot of our smaller account traders like those. So one line, okay, still got one line open. Okay, good. So one line's still open if y'all want to call over the phone, 407-606-5674. Are there minimums to start investing? Nope, just covered that. What do you make out of this other than what your fee is? Why do you do this? Well, the fee. I mean, I'm a capitalist, right? I like to make money, run a business. The other thing is I started doing this, 10 years ago. It was a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work. And then I needed to hire an analyst. I'm like, well, I'm spending money on this. So why don't I just, as a way to pay for it, offer it as a service to other people? And then it really, we used to not interact with people at all. I just put it up, send the pics out, and we did very well. Like I said, we've never had a losing year. And then it kind of started getting big. And then, I talked to Dr. Steve about it and some other folks and got a little bit of exposure. And so now we're starting to get, oh man, we're kind of filling this thing up. So now we've got full-time support staff, and I've got junior analysts, and we've got technology costs. So now it's at a point where we got to keep the members to pay for that. But no, I mean, it's twofold. One is I like the business. I like running this, and the other is there's no sense in saving it for myself. I mean, it's not as if you making money on these stocks can prevent me. It's not a zero-sum game. Okay, Rob, let somebody reach out to you. I see your number there, Rob H. Okay. Charged twice. I sent the payment, got a note from my bank. I said, okay, Jim, if for any reason you take a look at that, Sean, Mr. Morum. If you got charged twice, we'll be sure to credit that back, of course. Yeah, no problem. He said, all right, we'll handle that. Thank you. I tried a second time. Membership transaction will decline. I only want one membership. All right, Mick. Yeah, we'll take care of that. Just put your name in, and we'll have somebody reach out to you if they need to. USAA is making me call them for fraud prevention. See, Audrey, I told you. Look, it happened to me. I wasn't a big spender for a while. I remember buying something stupid, like a $400 leather bag, and it got declined. I'm like, I have $400 in it, right? And it's fraud prevention. Now, you get the app pops up. You get a text saying, "Did you just charge this?" Whatever. And you can just say, yes, it was me, and usually rerun it. But if not, just call them. It's for the, I mean, fraud's a big business. They lose billions every year. They got to do what they can to limit it. So I understand. Yeah, I agree, Stephen. I agree. You got it to work. All right, good, Mark. Yeah, security feature, Dennis. They got you too. Don't worry about it. We'll get it to work. Just call the number and redo it. Wouldn't it be a lot more money and a lot easier for you all to simply invest in partnership with a couple of whales? I don't know what that means, Mark. Invest in partnership with a couple of whales. And just put a ton of money in the stocks myself. Is that what you mean? If that's what you mean, it brings up another good point, which I should mention. People say, well, if this is so great, Ross, why don't other people do it? And it's twofold. One is it's hard. It's a lot of work to find these. We spent years honing our process, knowing what to look for. But as far as why don't big hedge funds and all them do it? They've got the money. They have the resources. It's because they can't. You see, our edge in this strategy is the size of these companies. Like I said, we're not recommending Amazon, Google, Apple. You rarely see this stuff there. We're looking at, this little biotech out of South California. We're recommending this little, uniform supply company in South Dakota. These are small stocks nobody's watching. And so when you look at, let's say, a hedge fund that's managing $50 billion. Let's just take Buffett. What's he managing? 60 billion? When Buffett buys a stock, he wants to get 2, 3, 10, $20 billion into that stock. If the whole company is only worth 150 million, he can't do it. The amount of shares available for him to buy is like a fraction of a percent of his portfolio. So it's simply not worth it. They're moving too much money. There's not enough liquidity. And that's where our edge comes from. Now, if you're managing, and I would say if your account is more than, I'll say 5 million. Once you get over 5 million, you have to be a little bit more cognizant of the stocks. Say, all right, well, I can't put 500,000 in that one, immediately I might move it a little. But if you're under that threshold, we don't really have that problem. And we're not recommending penny stocks, but they're also not mega caps. So the fact that the stocks only see a few $1 million a day of trading, or 10 million or 20 million a day in turnover, is our edge. We can slip in and out of these stocks where the big guys cannot. My point is the volume of buy signals is low. I must be missing the first part of your question, Adrian. Nowadays many insiders are selling. Do you make short trades? Okay. You're like, you got one question up here and there's 10, 15, 20 others, and then your question, I'm piecing it together, Adrian, forgive me. Your point is the volume of buy signals is low. Has it? I see what you're saying. So yeah, you're 100% right on that. You are going to see more insider buys during market pullbacks than you are markets making new highs. This is for sure. Like 2020 was our best year by far. The market tanked down, and all these insiders are going boom, 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 buying, because they know it's cheap, they know it's discounted, they know it's worth much more. So they're identifying these huge mispriced stocks in the market. I also showed you that chart for a reason. It shows the buy-sell ratio, how they nailed every single low for 20 years. They're smart investors. So when the market pulls back, and believe me, it will, in the next 2 years, you don't think we're going to get another dip, another pullback? We absolutely will. They are going to let us know when the best times to buy, and they're going to bring the best stocks to the surface by putting all their money into them. So that's what we've seen is, yes, you're 100% right. We see more buying, more signals during pullbacks and less on the rise up. So we tend to be buying more heavily when fewer people are, and selling and taking profits when a lot of people are getting in late to the party. Yeah, very good. Susan, yeah, there's no requirements. I mean, the guarantee is something we track. It's based on a synthetic or a theoretical 5,000 per stock trade. No options, none of that. But look, you can put $100 in each stock. You can put 100,000 in each stock. I remember putting in 100,000 every pick I sent in 2020. Make you a little nervous, but then the stock goes up. You're like, cool, I made you 80 grand a day. But no, there's no requirement on your part. In fact, you don't even have to take every stock if you don't want. I mean, I suggest following all of them. That's what I would do. But we have members say, I just, I don't love this one. I don't like that space. I don't want to buy that stock. Oh, this one looks great. I want to buy this one. That's totally up to you. Our job is doing the research. We're going to put what we believe to be the best ideas, the most clear signs of opportunistic insider buying in front of you, fully vetted, fully researched, with simple instructions delivered right to your phone, to your email every single month. What you do with that information is up to you. Ron, great question. How much of all this does Fidelity take? Zero, Harry. Zero. They don't take anything. Yeah, all the brokers, their commissions are now $0. So it's a great time to be a stock trader. I mean, it's free to open an account. They get zero commissions. You're like, what are they getting it for? Well, they make interest on your deposit. So when you're holding a bunch of cash, they may make a little bit of interest on it. They may get a penny here, a penny a share in order flow, something like that. But their businesses are not near as profitable as they used to be. Ron, you relayed your wins. What percentage are your losses? Okay, fair question. Fair question. Let me show you. It's a good question. This is full transparency for you, okay? This is our complete trade record since I launched this service in July 18, 2017. Every stock we bought, that's FleetCor, DDR, Cody. I remember all these. So we track it to the penny. We issue the buy alert. We take the sell alert, the profit, the partials, all of it. Now, a couple things I want you to notice. First of all, occasionally we're going to have a losing trade. Okay, there's going to be a 12%, a 4%, a 7% loss. There's also going to be some big wins. But you can kind of see the ratio here. Let me break it down by year for you. Here's 2019. Again, there were some losses in here, but there were also some really big wins. Our total return for the year, assuming 20% per stock trade, was 101%. So this year, 60% win rate. 2020 started off with that big dip, 9, 16, 13, 10% loss. Those weren't fun, but these were 85%, 1,400, 30, 32, 64, 61%, 109, 99. We made 377% that year. Now, our win rate is only 58%, Ron, but the size of the wins versus the loss is so much bigger. 2021, also a nice year, 44%. 2022, in the bear market, when everything went down, we actually made 29%. And then 2023 also produced, what was it, about a 42% compounded return, and we're very positive this year as well. So good. Thank you for the question, Ron. I appreciate the question, and I'm glad you guys got to see that, because I want to see 2 points. Number one, you need to know every trade is not going to win. There's not an investor on God's green earth who wins every single time they buy a stock. Buffett is wrong half the time. But most people don't care about this 5 and the 8 and the 12% loss when they get the 80 and the 200 and the 90% wins. And I like to show that because we occasionally get a member in the first trade, whatever it is, that's their opinion of the service. If it goes down 6%, I knew it is a scam. I knew it. I'm never doing this again. And they run away, and the next 5 are great. By the same token, if the first trade you get goes up 80% the first week, don't empty out your grandma's retirement account and go full leverage on the next one. It might be a loser, okay? Give it a month, give it a quarter, trade it out over a year, trade one share a piece, track it, whatever you need to do to be confident. But I've shown you that over months, over quarters, over years, we vastly outperform the market. In fact, if you look at our total return since we started this, and my members that have been around since 2018, not only have we beat the S&P 500, Nancy Pelosi, and Warren Buffett each and every year, we are up a compounded total of 1,923%. So if you start with being 2018 with 10 grand, you now have 200 grand. If you started with 100 grand, you now have 2 million. Now, if that's not worth $3,000 for a lifetime membership, I don't know what is. Dan, my name and number earlier to secure a spot. Do I need to call the website? I'm receiving a phone call. I need to review a few things before a final decision. Yeah, Dan, if you put your number in, we'll give you a shout. No problem. And thank you for the question. Okay, I showed you all that, Mark. Does this system work for precious metals? Occasionally, you'll see a mining stock. Yes. I mean, the whole idea behind this is we're buying stocks that the insiders are tipping their hand to. So there is no CEO of gold, right? There is no chief financial officer of crude oil. It's got to be an energy company, a mining company. In that case, but for those, yes, absolutely. Okay. Discuss your husband. Understood, Carolyn, no problem. How big are these companies typically? Typically, yeah, we don't usually go under 100 million market cap, Mark. That's pretty small. We've seen stocks get moved if we go too small. Usually they're going to be small to mid cap, which is going to be somewhere in the around 300 million to maybe 2 to 5 billion. That's kind of our sweet spot. Once you get up, Walmart, Google size, you don't really have an edge. If you go too small, you're really messing with garbage. So we found kind of that to be the sweet spot. Yep. Can you please say a bit more about tax? Timothy, since the stocks you hold for more than a year, you're going to pay capital gains tax. Right now it's 15%. If Biden has its way, it'll probably be 100%, but 15%. Any stock you hold less than a year, you're going to pay regular income tax on. So here's how it works. You open a brokerage account. You buy and sell stocks. Hold them a week, hold a month, doesn't matter. At the end of the year, Fidelity or Schwab or whoever is going to send you one big 1099 summary that shows your total gain for the year or your total loss for the year. If it's a loss, you can use that to offset your taxes. Hopefully, if you're following us, it won't be. If it's a gain, it'll show how much of that is long-term, how much is short-term, and you'll just plug those into your tax. It's not like you've got to track all this on your own. Your broker's going to do all that, send you a full tax report. You just hand it to your guy. Yep. Don't over stress on that part. I think the lifetime upgrade is only available today, but I'll have to ask. Or only available when you sign up, I'll have to ask. No, 2019 was very low. In fact, we've had, we see many more trades now. It was a weird year. Let me see how many we've done this year. I can show you real quick. We've already done 2024. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, let me just highlight it. It'll give me a number. Oh, it's not. Okay, so 243. So we've already done 20 trades this year. So yeah, we've already slotted that. Just an IRA. Okay. What percentage are pharma? Probably a quarter, something like that. Yeah, it's not as if it's all we do, but probably a quarter, a third. Okay, look, I know a lot of people sit there waiting for me to stop talking to sign up. So let me do this. Let me go ahead and sign off here. Again, the quickest way to sign up to snag one of these spots, to hold one of these double or 2-year discounted memberships we reserve for Turley Talkers, is to go to that link, getinsidereffect.com, getinsidereffect.com. You can also see the link in the chat. Just click on that. If you want to talk to us over the phone, you're welcome to do that. The number is on the screen, 407-606-5674. We're happy to answer any questions you've got and try to help you decide if this makes sense for you. Finally, if you put your number in and ask for a call back or wanted to be on the first right of refusal list, do me a favor. If you see a call from a 407 number in the next couple of hours, pick it up. I have a bad habit. I don't answer calls to numbers I don't know. But that's going to be our guys calling, giving you the call back you requested. Just answer that, even if it's, hey, I'm not ready. Can you call me tomorrow? Whatever it may be. Okay. So getinsidereffect.com or the number 407-606-5674. Let's make some money together. All right. I look forward to working with all of you over the next couple of years. If this is not the right time to sign up for you, we understand. We'll probably open enrollment again in a few months. That might work better for you. I hope you learned something today. And if there's anything we can do for you in the meantime, please feel free to let us know. Otherwise, I'll talk to you all very soon. Okay. Have a great rest of your evening. And thank you for coming.